Today preaching is from Genesis 1 through 4, original language and Hebrew, and I will read it and translation in English. So all other languages are translation. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Verse 2. Ve'ha'aretz hayeta tohu vavohu ve'choshek al pene tehom ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al pene hammaim. The earth was without form and void, and the darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Verse 3. Vayomer Elohim yehi or vayehi or. And God said, let there be light, and there was a light. Verse 4. Vayar Elohim et haor kitov, vayavdel Elohim ben haor uben hachoshek. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. Amen. Today the sermon, the title is God as a Creator. God is a creator, and He created heaven and earth, all creature. And so the beginning of the Bible is Genesis, as you know. And this is very important verses, so important. So you should know the beginning of the Bible and the end of the Bible, Revelation. So we should believe this all God's proclamation. Many liberal theologians criticize this is all about and this context, but I don't argue with them. But I just warn them, warning them, they made a mistake and mislead people because they are just criticizing the word of God, the original language. It's a making mistake. I don't like attitude of people just so prideful and haughty and criticizing the word of God, Hebrew, and also just pointing out the translation of the old language. It can be done. When you translate something, there should be always, if you emphasize something, there will be another thing, will come. So we can make mistakes sometimes, so we are people, even though you are pastors and theologians, all kind of position you have, even though we just come before Him and listen His voice, we're supposed to submit and bow down and kneeling down because we are creature, and we are humankind, God's made. Especially Psalm 100 is talking about. I like this psalm so much. I wrote many times Psalm 100. So I will read it for you. He is God, and we are His people. So make joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into His presence with singing. Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter His gate with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him, bless His name. For the Lord is good, and His steadfast love endures forever, and He is faithful to the old generation. I like this psalm so much, and I made a song in Hebrew, and I memorized. Yeah, I can memorize this psalm as well. This is a so beautiful psalm. This psalm is talking about exposes, especially the Genesis. He is God. We are His people. It really talks about our relationship. So God is our God. We are His people. We have a relationship, with God. We should know about that. So we should recognize that we are creature and we are humankind. So God is above and humankind and then nature. Because God is asking us to reign over, rule over. You're talking about 126 and 7. God made us His image and rule over whole creature. He talked about it's a cultural mandate that we're talking about, So this is so important. Always we should put the right position. What is in the most high, in the above, God, and then humanity, mankind, and then nature. But sometimes people, they made a mistake. They put the wrong position, Creatures above, like animal or stars and constellation, All kind of things in heaven is above. And then sometimes they are misleading by this kind of concept, like pantheism, atheism, or all kind of wrong idealism. They just come forward and worship them. This is idolatry. This is wrong. Because we should supposed to only worship Him. Suppose your father is there. Yeah, the family month is May, right? And your father is there. And if you just tell other people, older man is come by, and then, if you say, father, and then other people will treat you as you crazy, Our Father, who made us? We should make sure He made us. God made us. God created us. So we should know who Father is. You should know about that. That's why the Bible is pointing out He is our God. So Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Not only that, if you see continuously, it talks about God created heaven and earth in His image. I didn't read the verse 127:6 like that, but clearly after His whole creation of heaven and earth, finally He made a man and woman. 1:26. Then God said, let's make man in our image, after our own likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of heaven, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Everything, And especially you are image of God, Shelem Demut in Hebrew. So God created man in His image. In the image of God, He created him, male and female. He created them. So we are creature, including, all nature and everything. So God, you should know He is creator. Always we remember. This is the beginning of Old Testament. But however, what the New Testament teaches about, we should know. So sometimes we study so much on the Old Testament, they forgetting the importance of New Testament. New Testament, the central theme of New Testament is about the sole gospel of God, Jesus Christ. So this is a uniqueness of the gospel. There is no way. Acts 4:12 talking about, you remember this verse, salvation is found in no one else. For there is no other name under the heaven given to the man by which we must be saved. Salvation is found in only Jesus Christ. This is the soul of the gospel. You have to remember. So we believe Jesus Christ. How do we differentiate between Judaism or Jews and Christians? Between the different differences, based on the believing Jesus Christ, the sole gospel of God. Many people just thinking if they want to study Old Testament, they are so much focused on the geographic, approach, or maybe Asian Near East, just going to Israel, and then they like just so much over their tradition. It's okay, but you should remember gospel. Even though they claim they accept many religions, sometimes they admit the Old Testament as canon, but it is not right. Old Testament itself is not enough. Together, combined together, the Old Testament and New Testament should go together. We should believe that. That's why, even though we are focusing on, many times as an Old Testament professor or teachers, I just encourage you to study Old Testament pretty much. The reason is only because, many people forgetting the importance of Old Testament. So Old Testament started from the beginning of this world. It means God is the creator. Don't forget about who I am. God is always talking about what kind of God I am. We are forgetting about it. We are forgetting about relationship with Him and what He did for us and what He asked for us. In the mountain Sinai, especially the book of Exodus is talking about chapter 20, 10 commandments, everything He commanded us. We're forgetting about all the commands. This is our serious problem. Many Christians just tended to emphasize only, listen the teaching of the New Testament only. They differentiate Old Testament and between Old and between New. This is wrong also approach as well. So we should include both, approaches should be together, We should have both approaches. What I'm saying is that. What I mean by that, because the New Testament should be emphasized with the soul, the emphasis of the soul, gospel of Jesus Christ. So I emphasize only there is no way, like Acts 4:12 and 16:31. Believe in the Lord Jesus, who will be saved, you and your household. There is no way except but believing the Jesus Christ. As you know, John 14:6 talking about, I am the way, the truth, the life. In Greek it says, hodos, the way. Not just a general way, 유일한 and only unique. Yes, Korean is coming out, as Korean. Yeah, so unique, only soul way, the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. This is so important. So, do you know about what gospel is? New Testament teaches about Christian life many times. But many Christians, they forgetting the heritage or blessing of the Old Testament, For third is contents in the Bible is Old Testament. So we should know the gospel. Definitely, we understand that we share the gospel to the whole world. And first step is like understanding New Testament, the main focus theme. Afterwards, we're going back to the teaching from the Genesis. The first step, as I emphasized earlier in here, and declaration of the God's creation. Yeah, especially Genesis is talking about. We should understand that we reject all human idealism, humanism, pantheism, atheism, all philosophies according to the first verse of the Bible, So you better memorize it. Bereshit, in the beginning, bara, create, Elohim, God, et hashamayim, the heaven, ve'et ha'aretz, and the earth. That means top above the heaven, below the, down to the earth, or everything God created. In the middle, all constellation, all stars and moon and, a sun, all things created by God. We should remember whether the science, talking about different way, but this is God's, word of God. We should accept it. Whether we can approve or maybe prove this one later scientifically, it's a different story, But reasonably, yeah. Same thing. This is a proclamation, verse 1. Especially if you know Hebrew a little bit, so important, Verse 2, ve ha'aretz. Ve is like this conjunctive, clause. So that means just separate with the verse 1. So that means verse 1 is declaration, proclamation. Who, what God did for us. He just made the heaven and earth. He's a creator. And then talking about from verse 2, talking about detail, how he did that. The procedure is, he just the Bible illustrate procedure, afterwards. So the Old Testament is so important. We should know, and then we can have many blessing and in heritage from it, and many words are in here. So I want to challenge you today. You just accept as God the Creator. But the problem is, we live in this world. Many people, even though they confess as Christians, they are struggling so many difficulties. Recently, one lady talking about her, age is going to 40, mid 40, or going to 50. She's talking about menopause and climateric period. The woman getting and menopause, and then stops and menstruation and like that, and then men also we struggling similar case, even though we different from different experience we have. So same thing, depression, all kind of experience we do that. But how can you overcome this kind of psychological problem, and then our all disorder problem like that? Yeah, we can see psychological doctor. You may see them, but naturally in humanity, experience so many different experience. Adolescents, like 12 years, 15 years old, they just in the age of this, and then they have lots of problem. And 40 to 50, we also second, this kind of experience we have. I'm not sure. I was also experiencing those kind of experiences, and then at the time, I read the Bible, especially I wrote one book regarding expository of Ecclesiastes. And studying the Word of God deeply, I overcome all this kind of situation. Because always we come to deadlock, or maybe some kind of difficulties, and then there's nothing to escape like that. But if you come to that situation, you have to find a solution. How can you do that as a Christian? Many Christians, they don't understand that God is a real creator, What does it mean by that? I emphasize because Ecclesiastes is very open and wide. I just quote from, Ecclesiastes 9:9. I will read it for you. Enjoy life with the wife whom you love all the days of your vain life that he has given you under the sun, because that is your portion in life and in your toil, at which you toil under the sun. This is so important, We have a family. So family relationship, you should love each other with the family, your children love each other. But we have to remember Ecclesiastes always emphasize repeatedly use the term like vain life. I can say in Korean, but that's a wrong translation. But we better just hevel. Hevel is like a transient and temporal. This kind of meaning, vanity of vanities. So it comes up the book, introduction of this book, 1-2. Also the end of this book, 12:8. Almost the verse are same. I will read it for you. In fact, there is I written word on the wall in our church over there. I like this word so much because 1-2, Ecclesiastes, Habel, Habalim, Amara, Kohelet, Habel, Habalim, Hakol, Habel. Yeah, there is a translation. 1-2 in English. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. So everything is vanity. It means transient. We just go by, pass away. Everything go away. Not eternal. Everything's go away. That's why we are not eternal. That's why everything is like a vanity. So Solomon, you think about, he got everything. 1,000 wives he got, and he got all precious stones like just a regular stone. Everything he just could. experienced. And also he was in position of king, So he got everything, like power, money, or, wives, all kind of things he wanted. Afterwards, he just shared to us, Ecclesiastes, talking about, I experienced everything. My conclusion is this, 1, 2, and 12a, same thing, 12a. Almost his conclusion, talking about vanity of vanities, says the preacher, vanity of vanities. All is vanity. Everything is haber, is in transient, not eternal. So we should have a focus on the eternal thing, If you just try to grasp something like money or not eternal thing, and that thing will not satisfy you at all. This is a problem, Heber. Everything is Heber, according to the Bible. So he's trying to have a real meaning. We say take a pleasure or find enjoyment, like in Hebrew, ra'a, beto, try to see the good thing. We can translate it like that. The problem is, English translation, Korean translation is not a consistent, Is I just rather just come out of the original language, It's better. Ra'a to, ra'a beto, take a pleasure. So I will read it for you. These kind of words appeared a couple of quotations verses I shared with you. 2:1. 2:24, 3:13, 5:18 in Hebrew 17, 6:9. If you find out, I wrote about this this matter in this book about this book and also many dissertation in Korean. When times when I have a time, maybe I will really I will write in English later about that. What is the real meaning? Find the enjoyment or find the happiness. If you read it here, 2:1 to 24, there is nothing, 2:24, nothing better than for a person that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. What does it mean? We work hard, and then the best thing is just a temporary work and not eternal. So the best thing, eating stuff, drinking stuff, just daily lives, You should satisfy yourself in daily lives and find enjoyment and enjoy yourself. This is not bad word, enjoy yourself. It sounds like bad, but in Hebrew, same thing. Enjoy yourself or find enjoyment or find happiness. Same translation, same word, ra'a beto in Hebrew. So what we have to do, everything you're doing and you try to find enjoyment, find happiness. And Ecclesiastes 6:6, even though he should live 1,000 years twice over, yet enjoy no good. Yeah. So it's a meaningless. So daily lives, you should find your enjoyment or your happiness. This is a God's creation. Sometimes, I have no children, and also my wife is working, and I sometimes, lots of time I stay by myself. Most of the time I work, talking with God and praying, just talking. And I'm not alone at all. Sometimes my friend is Sandy Kato, are you alone or are you lonely? But I'm not. Always, even though I stay by myself 24 hours, I'm not really lonely because I'm really with God. Not just the saying Emmanuel, not just a quotation of the Bible. Real life is not alone. So my life is like two kind of division. One is I just stay with God, or life just staying with God, or life with staying with my wife. So two kind of types of life I'm right now. Sometimes when I get invited to share or teaching, I have time with the people. So what kind of relationship do you have with God? You have to remember And God suggests so many things. Find out eternal thing. Find out enjoyment. Find out happiness, real happiness. Bible is encouraging us. I think most, shocking verse is the 11:9. You know, this is so challenging to us. I wrote it. I wrote these verses yesterday night, very early in the morning, because I like this verse so much. 11:9 of in Ecclesiastes. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and sight of your eyes. But know that for all things God will bring you into judgment. What does it mean? Many people just focusing on a later part. Know that for these things God will bring you into judgment. All ways they're talking about. But I want to just analyze this verse properly in original Hebrew. If you look at that, and God is really want us to be happy. 11:9. Yeah, I will read it for you in Hebrew. 11:9. Shemach, yeah, rejoice. And then in young days, and then vehalak, walk. Ba darake lipecha. What does it mean? In here, it means that you can do everything. God just prohibits, except God prohibits. Many people just, they are free. We can do whatever we can do. Remember Genesis 3, temptation of Adam, we're talking about with Satan, especially the snake, And then God said that you can eat everything except about this tree, the tree of life. But he did that, he acted the other way, opposite way. That was the sinning against God. Same thing, God allowed everything for you, So only the God just prohibits God's commandments like that. So we should always remember God will bring you into judgment. God is, judge according to what you're doing, and in the end He will judge according to the word of God. Except that what the Bible teaches us or prohibits us, if you accept that, you can do whatever you can do. Freedom, freely you can do it. So this verse is suggesting us walk, according to, leading by your heart. The expression is very, weird, the ways of your heart. What does it mean? The ways of your heart. Inner part. Sometimes you're trying to do, or your tendency you are leading by, or your heart is moving by something. You can do it if it is not sinning against God. And not only that, outwardly, the side of your eyes, you can do what you like in your eyes. So it means inside, outside, whatever you like, if it is not the word is not prohibits, you can do. A total freedom, Are you really enjoying this kind of life? Many people, especially including me, I was just going to church and teaching at the school and coming home, and that's it. 3 kind of division life, I spent it. It was bored, I got bored. And in the time of woman like menopause period, almost I was so terrible. Afterwards, I read and I consulted with the teaching of the Bible, especially Old Testament. So God is the Creator. He created heaven and earth. All the earths are given to you. Everything is we have in this world. Many Christians just limit themselves, just going to the culture of Christian life, just going to church. That's the whole. I'm not just criticizing, just going to church. I'm saying that beyond the rest of life. How many hours do you go to church? Sunday, Wednesday, or early in the morning? Well, you can just add up less than 10 hours or maybe 24 hours a day. Rest of time, what I do, We are living with God all the time. We're spending time, most of the time, by yourself at office or whatever you're doing. You just, live yourself. Always, most of the time, we just, spending our time with God. Most of the time, I think. My case is like that. So, how do you spend your time? Being with Christ, being with God, always have good relationship. Even though daily lives, you should satisfy with that. You always satisfy yourself in the relationship with God. This is Bible's teaching and suggestion, the meaningful life. Bible is talking about, Bible really talks about, our life is a really vain life. It's a transient life. We just, many people, birth, aging, getting age, disease, and then death. Our life is like not just the influence of Buddhism. We just have all kind of experience. We come to this world and then become aging, getting old, and then sometimes we get pain or disease, and then finally we're going to die like that. This is the order of nature. It's going to die. This kind of life is heaven. We transient. We are not eternal. But this kind of lives, what should we do? Bible clearly teaches us about your life, your meaningful life. You have a relationship with God, always. So, family is so important. According to Ecclesiastes 9:9, enjoy life with a wife whom you love. That means a family life. You should love each other. Not only wife and husband, and then all children, they supposed to love each other. If you really do not love each other in your family, you are not enjoying your happiness. Find the enjoyment, the daily lives, or God's nature, or order of this nature, First of all, in family, you should restore and your enjoyment from yourself, and then rest of things. And what kind of thing? Are you everyday life? Because I'm working in order to make just money. That's right. We work because in order to make money. But sometimes, even though you're doing that work, you have the satisfaction. You have the meaning. You have to have a meaning. There was a very famous, story. NASA, one black, you have heard many times, he was working in a NASA and just cleaning up. And one guy, just a higher position, he asked me, what are you doing now? I'm just doing great things, the cleaning up, cleaning up here, and anyone who going to the, moon. But he is not doing something in order to send the people going to the moon, but he's cleaning up in those places. He has a kind of meaning in his task, in his mission, in his vocation. So those kind of attitude are very important. What you're doing, same thing in order to making money, or what I'm doing, something, you should have any meaning. This is the Bible's teaching. I want to end up with the old teaching of Old Testament. I just pointed out earlier the importance of New Testament. The soul, the gospel, the message is so important. Okay, that's right. We should believe and preach. And then I challenge you, afterwards, you becoming Christian, what kind of Christian living? Are you living in this world with your family life? Are you really meaningful life? Are you find the happiness and enjoyment every day? If you do that, you're really treating God as a creator. God created heaven and earth. These days I'm so exciting. I'm just watching only moon and sun. Every day is new. Every day I'm just enthralled with the sun rising. Every day is different. When I go with dispatch, to my wife. We go every day morning and pray together and on the way. But I watch, sun shining. Every day is different. And taking picture, even sun is every day different. Moon is every day different. 2 days ago, and the full moon is 100%. It was big, and I took a shot. It was beautiful. Sun and moon and stars. And also there is an app. App is really showing. If you just take on the moon, and you will see all kind of constellation. What the name of constellation? I was very excited to see that. Sun and moon and stars, very interesting. Not only that, all kind of flowers, beautiful seasons. You have to find the enjoyment through the all seasons, all creatures, God has made. That's why if you do that, you are treating God as the creator. I urge you, Christians, we are born-again Christian. We're going to heaven. We should share the gospel whole the earth. We remember, expand your capacity, expand your knowledge, and expand your faith. We are, as a Christian, we should God treat as a creator, and open your heart, make a big with it. You can just grasp more, and then I want to enlarge your capacity, and then God as the creator, we can enjoy. Especially last verse 11:9 Ecclesiastes. I urge you, God is asking you. You are free to do everything except but He prohibits. He says He told us not to do. Except that you are free to do something. If you have time, just do not get inside, do something, and go outside and see beautiful flowers. God made things. That's why I'm trying to see beautiful creature all the time. Go out the mountain if you have time, free time. Enjoy. 5 months. Enjoy your, all God's creature. This is we accepting as a God, who God is. I'm challenging you. From now on to the end of your life, just enjoy your life. And because this is the teaching of the Bible, not enjoy like bad meaning, enjoying, really find the meaning. And ra'a beto. This is teaching of the Ecclesiastes especially. So I end up with your challenge, and see the outside, not only looking inside, and what really God made and create a beautiful way. And if you see a lily, it's talking about, Jesus said, this lily, this flower, better than the glory of Solomon. The beautiful splendor of Solomon cannot compare with this flower. Jesus told us about that. We think, okay, flower is just fade away. It's just temporary. But temporary, beautiful flower is better than the glory, splendor of the Solomon. Jesus pointed out. What does it mean? It just tells us the glory and splendor of God. It talking about I made by God the Creator, So your life should be saying, God created the man and woman and me and you. So we're supposed to show the glory through the whole, or impact on all the people, not only believers, also to the whole, I think nations. So we should show His glory to the whole nation. Amen.